Welcome to Theology Unpacked. So, let's say someone asks you to explain the entire Christian faith. Where would you even begin? It's a huge question, right? But what if I told you the core of it isn't some complex list of rules and doctrines, but actually a single epic story, a grand narrative about a divine rescue mission? That's what we're going to unpack today.
The Bible basically lays this story out for us in four major acts. It starts with a perfect creation, then moves to a catastrophic event called the fall, which then leads to a dramatic redemption, and finally, it all points toward a glorious finale, the Consummation. Think of this as our roadmap for the journey. All right, so let's dive right in at the very beginning. We're talking about the original blueprint for the world. Before any of the trouble started. Picture this. The opening pages of the Bible paint this incredible scene where God just speaks a perfect world into existence. And humanity is created in his image, specifically designed for this direct, unbroken friendship with him. The book of Genesis doesn't just say this original design was good. No, it says it was very good. That's a huge deal. But then, everything changes. You can almost hear the record scratch. A catastrophic bug gets introduced into that perfect system. And I mean something really fundamentally broke. In theology, that bug is called sin. And we're not talking about a simple mistake, like a typo in the code. It's so much more like a malicious virus that went right for the core operating system of humanity. It corrupted everything, introducing death and separation from God. And here's the kicker. It left the entire system fundamentally broken, totally unable to fix itself. But, and this is so important, right from the moment things broke, God's rescue plan was already kicking into gear. This was never plan B. It was the plan all along. Every great rescue story needs a hero, right? Well, the hero of this divine rescue operation is Jesus Christ, who the scriptures present as this incredible mystery, fully God and fully man. His mission was kind of a three-part masterstroke. He lived the perfect life that humanity couldn't. He died on the cross as a substitute to pay sin's penalty. We call that the atonement. And then he rose from the dead, proving without a doubt that the rescue was a success. Okay, so that's the big picture. But how does this rescue actually work on a technical level? Let's kind of pop the hood and take a look at the theological engineering that makes all of this possible. The entire rescue operation is built on one foundational principle, the sovereignty of God. This just means that God isn't some passive observer watching things unfold. He is the absolute ruler of the universe, and everything that happens is part of his perfect and unchangeable plan. He's in charge. The Westminster Confession of Faith, which is a historic summary of doctrine, puts it so clearly. It says God freely and unchangeably ordains whatsoever comes to pass. In the context of our story, that means the rescue plan was never a reaction to the fall. It was a foreordained mission from the very beginning. Okay, so remember that system virus of sin? Well, this leads to a concept the scriptures call total depravity. I know it's a heavy term, but it doesn't mean people are as absolutely evil as they could possibly be. Instead, it means that every single part of our human nature is affected by sin, making us spiritually unable to save ourselves or even truly desire God without him stepping in first. And this is the crucial turning point. If we are completely unable to save ourselves, then salvation can only ever be a gift. It's the only way. And that gift has a name: grace. It's God's completely unearned, unmerited favor. It's a free gift you receive through faith, not something you achieve by working for it. So this rescue has two distinct but connected parts. First, there's justification. Think of this like a one-time legal act. Picture a courtroom. God, as the judge, brings down the gavel and declares a sinner not guilty, righteous, based on Christ's work. Your legal status is changed forever. Boom. But then there's sanctification. This isn't a single event. It's a lifelong process where the Holy Spirit gradually changes your character to become more like Christ. And get this, the whole operation is a perfectly coordinated team effort. You've got the Father, who plans the entire rescue mission. Then you have the Son, Jesus, who is like the boots on the ground, executing the rescue with his life, death, and resurrection. And then you have the Holy Spirit, who actually applies that rescue to individuals, bringing them to faith. It's amazing. Okay, so for someone who has been rescued by all this, what's the mission briefing? How are you now meant to live in light of this incredible story? Well, life becomes a grateful response to this incredible act of grace. It's not about trying to earn salvation, but about living out of it. And that response takes shape through communion with God in worship and prayer, through fellowship with other believers in the church, through symbolic acts like baptism and the Lord's Supper, and ultimately by joining the mission to share this rescue story with others. But the story doesn't end here. It's all pointing toward the final, glorious fourth act, the consummation. This is the ultimate hope, where Jesus returns to fully and finally remove that virus of sin, restore all of creation, and live with his rescued people in perfect peace and friendship forever. The entire story we've just walked through, it can really be captured in this one powerful summary from the Reformed tradition. God, out of perfect love and sovereign grace, saves helpless sinners entirely through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is received by faith alone. That's the core of it.
So what we've seen is that the Christian faith isn't just a random collection of rules and ideas. At its heart, it's one single epic story about a divine rescue from beginning to end. And framing it this way, as one coherent narrative, can really change your perspective on, well, everything. Thanks for tuning in to Theology Unpacked. Please like, subscribe, and share this with the first person you thought of who needs to hear it.